hello everyone. Welcome aboard. Welcome to San Antonio. My name is Mary Jane. I'm going to be your boat captain for the next 30 minutes or so. Now I do have a few safety rules that we have to go over. Rule number 1, there is no standing on the boat. A lot of the bridges are very low, so I don't want you to hit your head on anything. Also because we do have the training boat out today, so you also know how that's going to go. But it's okay, I'll just give everybody a heads up when I say, hey, the training boat's coming. Everybody bring your arm inside of the boat, okay? Rule number 2, if I can please bring all arms, feet, and other limbs inside of the boat. We're going to get very close to the bridges, to the walls, and to the other boats. And rule number 3, there is no smoking or vaping or any other type of tobacco use on the boat. That's pretty much it. So with that being said, let's begin. This little footbridge that we just went under might look familiar to some of you. If you've ever seen the 1997 movie Selena, starring Jennifer Lopez, this bridge is featured in the movie. Of course, in the movie, that very spot right there was where Jennifer Lopez had sat on the bridge and did her famous kissing scene. But of course, in real life, that is where the real Selena Quintanilla, Chris Perez, had got engaged. So now fans that can come and stop foot traffic and also engage on the bridge almost every single day. But over here to my left, this is the Omni La Moncion. The Omni had opened up 15 years after the Battle of the Alamo as St. Mary's School for Boys. Until 1966, when 2 alumni came back, they bought out the school and turned the building into a luxury hotel just in time for the 1968 World's Fair. Now St. Mary's is a co-ed school and is located on the far west side of town known as St. Mary's University. That is also where Jennifer Lopez stayed when she was filming the Selena movie. She has stayed at the very top floor in the presidential suite, and of course ever since then the prices have gone up. Now for this part here, we can only see this as soon as we get out of underneath the bridge. So, if I could have everyone do me a favor, if I could have everyone look at me really quickly. Now what we're going to do here, everyone, is we're going to look to the left. And then we're going to look all the way up, straight up to the top of the building. Okay, so to the left and all the way up, straight up to the top of the building. We're going to see an optical illusion of a freestanding wall. So to the left and all the way up to the very top of the building. All the way up to the top of the building.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it is. Watch out, though.
Now that was the next hospital. It had opened up in 1930 and it was the first fully serviced and fully air-conditioned hospital in the nation. Now of course some very, very famous people were born there like comedian Carol Burnett and actress Michelle Rodriguez. Unfortunately, it did close down in 2019, but it was quickly bought by the Marriott. So now in just a few years, our hospital is going to be a luxury hotel. But of course, not far from the usual things we have around here. You know, we're always turning hospitals into hotels and morgues into restaurants just like the one right underneath it. Might also be Marriott's most haunted location because in the 30s, the majority of the hospital was an insane asylum. Well, right in front of us here, the building with all the windows is the Hyatt Regency Hotel. Now the Hyatt, it stands at 16 stories high because any higher, and it would cast a shadow on the Alamo that's right in front of it, which is forbidden. As the sun must rise and set on the Alamo every single day in honor of those who fought. Now you can even go through the Hyatt even if you're not a guest there. If you ever do, you're going to see some cool water features, some beautiful plants, souvenir shops, some restaurants. Keep going all the way through and you'll end up right in front of the Alamo. Now, of course, right next to it here, this is the Frosty Dog. They have some really good drinks that you take to go, and they play live music every single day. Later on, of course, if you want to come back and check them out. But coming up to my right, this building here used to be the Casino Club building. Now, of course, it had nothing to do with casinos, but it brought 2 all-male society groups together, and it's where they would have their meetings. Now, the bottom 2 floors, it's Sawgrass Steakhouse, but the rest of the building are the cheapest apartments on the Riverwalk. Now the only thing about these apartments is there's about a 16-year wait. And we are now in Restaurant Row. This is where the majority of our restaurants are. So if you're looking for something to eat after, this is where you want to come. Now just a heads up everyone, the birds and the ducks do like to fly very, very close to the boats, but it's okay, they shouldn't do anything too bad. If they do, it's good luck. But if you're looking to have a real good time over here to my left, this is Cafe Olay, and they're famously known for their 60-ounce margarita with 7 shots in them. Guaranteed to have a real good time after. Now, of course, you can have it frozen, you can have it on the rocks, you can even dress the ram with sugar, salt, tahini, chamoy, whatever you want. Coming up to my right, this is Casa Rio. It opened actually bought it off of them, and here we are today. Now we still do offer the dinner on the boats, but you do have to rent it out 2 to 3 weeks in advance. Or if you don't want to drive around eating, you could drive around drinking, because you know who doesn't love doing that. We have a cocktail charter, it's a little bit cheaper than the dinner one. Or we have a beverage bar, it's a lot cheaper than the dinner one. Or you can even rent off the boat just like it is right now. Now when you rent off the boat, you know it is your boat. So for example, so you see one of your friends walking on the side of the river, you could be like, oh, Mary Jane, I want to go pick those people up. And I would have to because it's your boat, you have all this, you know. So you can also bring your own speaker board, bring your own food and drinks aboard. Or you can go online or something, go from the restaurant down here. Something over there, you go pick it up. It's a lot cheaper. But it ain't not fair, okay, so okay, so. We just exited on natural part of the river. We are now in the man-made. This section here has a completely concrete bottom, and it is 4 feet to 5 feet deep, and it was built for the 1968 World's Fair. So of course, back in 1968, San Antonio was hosting its 250th birthday as a city, and what was supposed to be this small town's fair and only last 2 weeks long, ended up becoming this huge World's Fair. Now this World's Fair was such a big hit, it lasted 6 months long. So fun fact there, on an average year, we have just a little bit over 250 people go on the river every single year. But of course, with the 6-month-long party, those out here, the most people go in the river. And well, San Antonio, since it was our birthday, we had something as our centerpiece of it all. Now, if we look to our right, on the street level, and in between these trees here, you're gonna see the Tower of Americas, built for the 1968 World's Fair. Now I'll get you a better view of it in just a little bit. It has a 750-foot observation deck, 952 steps, and every year on the anniversary of 9/11, firefighters come fully equipped and race to the top. Now, of course, these firefighters were doing this before they had dedicated it to 9/11. And back in 1981, the fastest time going up was at 5 minutes and 18 seconds, and still to this day has not been broken. Now, if you want to go there after, you can. All you can do is follow the river to the right side. It's going to cost about $16.50 a person to go up there, but don't worry, the right now is free. They do have restaurants and bars up there. So. Over here to our right, y'all can get a better view of the tower. Also to our right, she's called Stargazer. Now, she's very new here to the Riverwalk. She was just revealed last year in March, and she's made out of volcanic stone from an active volcano in Mexico. Now, unfortunately, that's all there is to know about her, because 2 weeks after she was revealed, the artist came out on the news to say she has no meaning to her. Yeah, she's whatever you want her to be. She's up for interpretation. Now, coming up to our right, it's another one of our locations. Now, normally, Vicky Stew is our most famous one because of our frozen margaritas with everclear. Even that you sample them out before you can buy them, you can mix and match, add an extra shot. We have different sizes, and it's the only location where you can actually go inside buy them together. Now, we sell other beverages, of course. We even sell souvenir cups, shot glasses, tumblers. We sell shirts, hats, jackets, ponchos, margarita holders. We sell refrigerator stoves, toasters, toaster ovens, air fryers, all right inside. Just see on our numbers. Now, it's also our most famous location because it's located right next to our River Center Mall. So, hence the name River Center. The river does flow through the center of it. The only thing is, you can't see it from the inside. You only see it from the outside. I'll show you where in just a little bit. Right in front of us here. Now to the left of us and underneath the bridge is where the river flows out of underneath the mall. Now I know it doesn't look as cool as it sounds, but I still had to show it anyway, so there it was. But I don't know if any of y'all noticed this island here with the plants on it. Well, every single year during Christmas time, when the city puts up the Christmas lights, the mall puts up a really big tree here right in the middle of it. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people actually don't even like the island for that very reason. Mainly teenagers, of course. You know, they're always trying to get a good picture for social media, so they would climb over the railing, stand on top of the pillars, and jump on the island. And of course, 98% of the time, they would both. So the last time we turned the river was last year in January, and our friends were the seekers told us from Little Footbridge we went under all the way up to the island, 110 I found inside the man-made section alone, 37. Now I know it doesn't sound like too much, but they're not allowed down here. Of course, the majority of them are found by the bridges. But inside the mall, we have over 100 retailers, not counting dining. We even have an IMAX theater, we have an AMC theater, we have an aquatic life aquarium, a Dave and Buster's, a Legoland, we have a dinosaur discovery, we have rock climbing, and our gravity ropes obstacle course. All right inside the mall. And of course, every single day at the exact same time, ever since 1988, our IMAX shows a movie, even when no one's there. Can anyone guess what movie? I'll give you 2 hunks if you guess it right.
Barbie.
No.
1988. Yeah, the Battle of the Alamo, Price of Freedom. You get 2 honks.
You didn't get
Now over here
Barbie.
to our right, she's called Stargazer. She's very, very
I've
new
seen
here
her.
to the Riverwalk. She was just revealed last year. Sorry, wrong one. Over here to our right, this is St. Anthony de Padua. I like how everybody was looking at me, but didn't tell me.
I know.
Definitely not sure.
He's the patron saint of lost items and small children. And of course, he is who San Antonio and the river are named after. But if you didn't know, San Antonio was named after the river because it was here first, of course. And he was a gift to us for the 1968 World's Fair by Portugal because St. Anthony, he lived back in the 12th century. He was from Lisbon, Portugal. And fun fact for y'all, his real name, it wasn't even Anthony. And his real name, it was Fernando. And fun fact number 2 for y'all, if you ever want to sell your house, all you can do is bury him in your front yard, feed towards your house, and he sells it just like that. And it really does work. Now, of course, he does a whole bunch of other stuff, like apparently, if you want a boyfriend, he'll bring you a boyfriend guaranteed. Now, I don't know how that one works. Now, I know you hear the bells. If you look over here to our right, on the street level, in between these trees here, you're going to see the church peeking through right up there.
Church first.
Yeah.
This is St. Joseph's German Catholic Church. Now, it's German because it was built back in the 1800s when the majority of San Antonio spoke German. So, of course, they wanted their own place of worship in their native language, so they had built theirs right down here. I don't know if any of y'all been on the street level where the mall is. If you haven't, you may have noticed that there's a church awkwardly in the middle of it. That's the one. Now, of course, every single year, the mall has doubled and tripled their money to buy out the church's way of worship, but they say no because they still do practice this day in English and in German. They even have an all-male choir that performs there once a month at the end of the month in German. Now, coming up to our right and on the street level at the corner of this building here, we're going to see a sculpture peeking through right up there. This is known as the Torch of Friendship, and it was a gift to us in 2002 by Mexico, saying even though we're not a part of Mexico anymore, we still stand on good terms. Now, I do have some more questions for everyone aboard. Is it anyone's birthday today?
No.
Tomorrow? Yesterday? No. Do we have anyone celebrating an anniversary?
October 8th.
That was a long time ago.
It sure was.
We have an anniversary. How long has it been?
5 years.
5 years. They're expecting to. What is y'all's name?
I'm Bill.
Bill. Rachel. Bill and Rachel are celebrating 5 years. Can you give them a round of applause, please? Congratulations. And many more years to y'all. What are you having? A boy.
It's a boy year.
Is his name gonna be Bill? Do we have anyone who is a military veteran, active military, first responder, teacher, or essential workers aboard? We have one, we have two. Can you give a round of applause, please? I like how the people around them kind of blend. Now, coming up to our right, this is the last location that we're going to pass by today. This is our Historia location. Now, hence the name Historia. This is where the stories all begin. Now, if we look right across the river from that, all the way up and to the left, this is Palacio del Rio by Hilton, also known as Palace on the River. Now, this building here was built in record time at 202 working days with weekends and holidays off. So, of course, it was built so fast, as you can see, the bottom 4 floors look normal, while the rest of the building doesn't. Well, that's because the 4 floors are built here on site, while the other rooms were built here in San Antonio, 5 miles away to be exact, on a different site. Now, when they were done building each room, they had furnished them. So each room was fully furnished all the way from the bathtubs to the beds to the lamps and the Bible on the nightstand. They brought the rooms back over here, lifted them up and stacked them one on top of the other just like Legos. That's why each room is in and out like that. And of course, it was built for the 1968 World's Fair, and it's in the Guinness Book World Record as the fastest building ever built. But right in front of us here, this is La Villita. La Villita is a little village in English, and that's exactly what it is, as it was San Antonio's first neighborhood here. And it was also the site of Santa Ana's cannon line in the Battle of the Alamo. Now it's shops, dining, and bars, of course, if y'all want to come back and check them out. But right in front of us here, this little area, this is our Arneson River Theater. To the left is the 800-person seating, and to the right is the stage, of course. Now behind the stage, there are 5 bronze bells. These bells represent the 5 missions we have here in San Antonio. The middle one representing the Alamo, our only mission downtown. Now the stage might also look familiar to some of you if you've ever seen the 2000 movie Miss Congeniality starring Sandra Bullock. This is where she did her famous World Peace speech. And they even started running up the place for weddings. So if you're going to get married later, if you know someone who is, or if you want to do it all over again, you can. You get all the attention right there. And coming up to our right, where the really big statue is, that statue represents the first cattle drive we had here in Texas. And the building behind it, it's the Briscoe Western Art Museum. Now the Briscoe had opened up in 2013. Inside they have Pancho Villa's last known saddle and Santa Ana's ceremonial sword. But before that, in 1968, it was the Harrodsburg Circus Museum. And before that, in 1930, this was the first public library here downtown. It was said to be the tallest building because of all the stories they had.
Oh.
Thank you, I'm only through that. Now right in front of us here, this bridge that we're about to go under looks very low, but I can assure you, it's not that low. This is called Rosetta's Bridge. It's completely bolted together. There is no welding involved, and it was a gift to us back in the 1800s, all the way from Berlin, Connecticut, of course. Now over here to our right, this little island here, this is known as a marriage island. Now it's called Marriage Island because the roots of the cypress tree, it shapes the island like a heart. Also because over 300 weddings happen here every single year and over 400 proposals a year. It's said to bring good luck dating back all the way to the Mexican Revolution. But of course right next to it here, this is known as a tunnel of love. So if y'all are here with your loved ones, go ahead and give them a kiss, give them a hug, a high five, a pat on the back, a fist bump. You can slap them back and kick them out of love. Here to our right, this is the West End Hotel. Now the West End had opened up in November of 1999. Now when the Spurs play a home game, like on Friday, their opponent team stays at the top 2 floors, and their main lobby is furnished from a 17th century European castle. Everything has been refurbished and is still hanging up to this very day. But if we look all the way up and to the left, we're gonna see the Tower Life Building. It opened up in 1929 and it was originally called the Smith & Young Tower. Now the Smith & Young duo were very, very superstitious. So if you look all the way up there again, you're going to see some gargoyles sticking out. Those are to protect the building. But if you look right above the first floor here, just above these little trees, you're going to see some scary, ugly looking faces sticking out.
Some of the buildings.
These are called grotesque faces. And they were used to ward off bad business and evil spirits. But of course, they don't work. As the Smith & Young duo had lost the building because of the Great Depression, what had originally cost them $3 million in 1 year to build, they're forced to sell it in auction. And it was sold for $300,000. That's the 10% of what they bought it for. Now, it's worth in today's money $10 million. But right in front of us here, this big giant red building with a point on it. This is our Bexar County Courthouse. That is B-E-X-A-R. It is the largest, oldest, and continuously operating courthouse in Texas. But if you look behind us here at the Tower Life Building, you can get a really good view of it and how it kind of looks like a ship. Well, that's because the architects were going for a Titanic theme. But for obvious reasons, they had given up on the Titanic and went with a regular old ship. Some say you could still even hear it honk. And we are now entering into the 14 to 20 feet deep of water. So back in 1921, there was a huge flood in the downtown area. Above street level, it was under 9 feet of water. So from 1922 to 1924, the Army Corps of Engineers and the City of San Antonio worked on a flood control plan. So they have put 2 floodgates on the right side of the river. If you look behind us, way back there, you can kind of see the red and green light. That's a 15-foot drop zone. That's where we're going to go that way. We even put these drain holes here on the wall, so the water from the street level can also come down here. So when it starts to rain really, really hard, the 2 floodgates would close. When they're both closed, instead of taking back to that one over there to lower just a few feet, so the water from here rushed down over there, and it eventually ends up in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, of course, back then, nobody believed that the flood control was going to work, so a lot of people left the downtown area, leaving very, very lonely until the full. Now, of course, the majority of our river, it's only 3 feet to 4 feet deep, and the rest of it is 4 feet to 5. Now, the deepest that the river goes is 27 feet deep up north by the Loxon Dam towards the Pearl. Now, right in front of us here, we are gonna see this little light post, and then right next to it, we're gonna see this really big tree. This is the oldest tree here on the Riverwalk at over 350 years old, older than San Antonio itself. Now this tree is actually named after Ben Malam after he was shot by a sniper that was in this tree. This sniper had shot Ben Malam right in the head after he had gathered 300 volunteers to bring back with him. Now of course this sniper was actually trying to shoot anyone trying to cross the river. Anyone meaning any Texan. Now it's said to be over 350 years old because both cypress trees, once they reach 100 years old, the way that they grow slows down dramatically. So for all we know, it could be over 800 years old, over 1,000 years old, but there's no definite way to tell unless we cut it down, which of course we're not allowed to do. And coming up to our right, in front of the 2 blue boats there, the little old building, it's the Esquire Tavern. Now the Esquire, it's the oldest bar on the river with the longest wooden bar top in Texas at 110 feet long. So of course the oldest bar because it was open during the Prohibition, and the only reason why it was able to stay open was because it was a barber shop. So back then you would come in and ask for a special haircut, but then come out without a haircut, and just a little stumble to your step. Now right in front of us here, does this look familiar to anyone at all? Yeah, this is where we started. Unfortunately, friends, this is the end of our tour. I do ask you to please stay seated as documented.